Hello, this is Bob Petersen with Statewide Real Estate in Escadon, Michigan, and welcome to UP Sustainable Living. On this channel, we talk about buying land, selling land, rural property, and sustainable living in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. In this video, we're starting a new series on government land programs in Michigan. In this first video, I want to give a simple overview of two programs that come up fairly often with larger parcels and rural land. CFA, the Commercial Forest Act, and QFP, the Qualified Forest Program. If you own land, are thinking about buying land, or maybe selling land enrolled in one of these programs, it's important to understand the basics. Because these programs can affect how the property is taxed, how the land is used, what buyers need to know, and what owners may need to do before making changes. If you enjoy practical information about buying, selling, and owning land in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, be sure to subscribe along and follow along. A lot of people look at a piece of land and focus mainly on the size, the price, and the location. But with rural properties, especially larger wooded parcels, there can be other things in the background that matter just as much. One of those things is whether the land is enrolled in a program like CFA or QFP. That doesn't automatically mean something's wrong with the property. In fact, for the right owner, these programs can be very useful. But they do come with rules, responsibilities, and limitations that buyers and sellers need to understand. That's exactly why I wanted to make this series. Let's start with CFA, the Commercial Forest Act. In simple terms, CFA is a Michigan program for certain forest lands. The goal is to encourage land to stay in long-term forest production and remain available for forestry use. Land enrolled in CFA may receive favorable tax treatment, but in exchange, the property is subject to program rules. One of the biggest things people notice about CFA land is that it may involve public access for hunting and fishing under the rules of the program. That's a major point buyers and sellers need to understand. So when you see land enrolled in CFA, don't just think great lower taxes. Also ask, what obligations come with it? How does it affect ownership? And does it fit the way the buyer wants to use the property? We'll go deeper into CFA in the next video. Now let's talk about QFP, the Qualified Forest Program. This is another Michigan land program needed to encourage long-term forest management. Like CFA, QFP can offer tax advantages for qualifying land. But QFP works differently and comes with its own requirements. Generally speaking, QFP focuses on managing eligible land as forest property under an improved management plan. That means landowners need to understand the management side of the program, not just the tax side. For the right owner, QFP can be a very good fit, but buyers and sellers still need to understand what the program requires, how the land must be managed, and whether enrollment affects future plans for the property. That includes things like building plans, splitting land, or changing land use. We'll break that down in a separate video as well. If you're buying land in the UP, this matters because you don't want surprises after closing. You want to know, is the property enrolled in a land program? What rules apply? Does the buyer have to continue the program? Can the property be removed? And are there penalties or fees involved? These questions can affect whether a property is really a good fit for you or your goals. A parcel may look perfect on paper, but if you want privacy, full control of use, or immediate development, a program-enrolled property may not fit your plans without additional steps. This also matters for sellers. Buyers are going to ask questions, and the more clearly you can explain whether the land is in CFA or QFP, the easier the transaction tends to go. If a buyer doesn't understand the program ahead of time, they may get nervous later when they're about to close. If a buyer doesn't understand the program ahead of time, they may get nervous later when they hear about restrictions, management plans, public access, or possible removal costs. Clear information early helps attract the right buyers. Programs like CFA and QFP can sound more complicated than they really need to be. Many landowners hear the names but aren't sure what they actually mean in practical terms. My goal here isn't to bury you in legal language. My goal is to give you a plain English overview so you know what questions to ask before you buy, sell, or make decisions about your land. In the next videos, we're going to break this down piece by piece. We'll cover what CFA is in more detail, whom it may fit, what buyers and sellers should watch for, how QFP works, and what owners should think about before removing land from a program. So if that sounds useful, keep an eye out for the rest of the series. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in buying or selling land in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, or learn more about rural property issues like QFP, CFA, access, or easements, my contact information is in the description below. Again, this is Bob Petersen with Statewide Real Estate in Escanaba, Michigan, and this is UP Sustainable Living, and I'll see you in the next video.